Hey, what's up you guys? I got another video for you here, and we actually have two matches in this video today because both these matches were a little shorter, but they're both with the same team. So we're just gonna jump right into it. No looking at team previews too much. Then after seeing the previews, I assume my opponent's gonna lead off with the Tyranitar to set up the Sandstream up. So I'm gonna lead out with my Bioplume just because I think I can wall out this Tyranitar and win the matchup. And I also have Toxic on this Bioplume, so I'm actually just gonna go for the Toxic right at the gate. If he switches out, someone's gonna get poisoned. If he stays in, he's gonna get poisoned. So Vileplume is going to poison somebody today. And that lucky Pokemon getting poisoned is gonna be the Tyranitar because he does stay in and sets up the Stealth Rocks, which isn't too big of a deal. The only reason I care for Stealth Rocks is because I have a Focus Sash on my Tyrantrum, but I brought my other favorite Pokemon, which is gonna be the Hitmontop. And Hitmontop's obviously got Rapid Spin, so I can just get rid of those whenever I want. No big deal. So Vileplume is my physical defense wall, and I'm assuming this Tyranitar is a physical attacker, so I don't see a point in swapping out, so I'm just going to stay in. He goes for the Earthquake, and Vileplume takes that pretty well, and actually went for the Giga Drain here, so we're going to be able to recover most of our health here, especially with the leftovers afterwards. After seeing how much damage that Giga Drain did, and after the poison, I can actually take this Tyranitar out with one more Giga Drain probably. So I'm wondering if my opponent's going to switch out here, and I was thinking about switching out. They didn't know what they were going to go in. They have a couple of Pokemon they could take on this Vileplume, so I'm just going to stay in and just go for the Giga Drain and hopefully get a little bit of health back off of something, and maybe, you know, just knock out a Focus Sash if they have one. So they actually are going to switch out into the Charizard, which is a good move from my opponent because this Giga Drain is going to do, like, no damage. But we do get some chip damage, and they are going to take Sandstorm damage here. So we're going to swap out into something that could handle a fire move because this Vileplume is very scared of fire. Fire is his kryptonite. I mean, fire is pretty much everyone's kryptonite, but especially this Vileplume. So if anything can take a fire move, it's going to be my Vaporeon. So this is going to be a specially defensive Vaporeon, so I'm hoping this guy has Flamethrower, but he shows that he doesn't have Flamethrower here. He's actually going for the Flare Blitz, which is going to do really not a lot of damage. Vaporeon takes that really well, but we get the burn. We got burned by the Flare Blitz, which really sucks. We can, you know, heal a little with leftovers, so it's going to counteract the burn, and we can wish away any extra damage, but it's going to take a few turns and moves to do that. And we have the Aromatherapy actually on my Vileplume, but I can't swap in my Vileplume yet because this Charizard's on the match, so that kind of sucks. But that's okay because we can actually scare away this Charizard with a Water move, and they're going to swap into their Thundurus. I actually predicted that move, so I went for the Ice Beam. And this Ice Beam does like 75% damage. That was a really good hit for being a very special defensive and all max HP Pokemon. And now, I'm assuming they're going to want to go for the Thunder. And this is a pretty risky play. But like I said, max special defense. I'm going to let my Vaporeon stay in here. Hope they can live a Thunder or Thunderbolt. And then take out this Thundurus with an Ice Beam. They land the Thunder, and this beast of a Pokemon lives the Thunder. Gets the Ice Beam off and takes out the Thundurus. This Vaporeon, I'm really loving how bulky it is. It really is a really good defensive wall, especially with the Protect and the Wish, and then if you do have somebody that can Toxic somebody else or do some sort of status to somebody else, you can just stall them out, like my Vileplume. It turns out to be a really good combo. So my opponent's next Pokemon is going to be the Shiny Inteleon, which is a really cool shiny if I may say so myself. I gotta have one of those, I don't have one yet. But I decided just to let Vaporeon die here. I didn't feel like switching anything in, and they already did hella work, so we're just gonna let the Vaporeon die to the U-turn, which actually isn't a bad way to go out, because now we can see what they swap in, and then we can make an adjustment and counter swap in after that. My opponent here decides to go with the Tyranitar, and I believe this is a good chance to get in my Hitmontop to get rid of the Stealth Rocks that are on the field. So I am just going to go for the Rapid Spin on the first turn, and even with a Technician, that's not going to do too much damage. But I do get the Speed Boost, and actually my opponent guesses, and actually not guesses, but they predict that I'm going to go for the Rapid Spin, and actually go for the Stealth Rocks again. So I don't know why they think the Stealth Rocks are so important. Why don't they just go for an attacking move? I don't know if they even have an attacking move yet, but that's okay. Because we can just go for the Rapid Spin again. I actually debated going for the Bulk up here just to get a +1 defense, attack, and speed for him on top. That'd be really cool. But I just go for the Rapid Spin, and we actually get the crit here, so that crit is gonna take out the Tyranitar. And now we got no rocks, and they can't set up rocks anymore, so that threat is averted. So while my opponent decides what Pokemon to swap into next, Hitmontop's gonna keep dancing. He's in a pretty good spot. He's got the +1, +2 speed actually. As he's dancing, my opponent is gonna send out the Charizard again. So I'm assuming they have Air Slash maybe, even though we saw that they were a physical attacker with the Flare Blitz. And Hitmontop doesn't want to take any Air Slashes, so we're gonna swap in the Magmortar here. On the swap, my opponent is gonna go for the Air Slash actually, so it's a mixed attacking Charizard, which is pretty cool. And that did not too much crazy damage. Magmortar took that pretty well. So now, this Magmortar has Thunderbolt, so I'm just going to go for the Thunderbolt and hopefully take out this Charizard here. My opponent here is actually going to switch out their Charizard. I don't know what they thought I could hit this Charizard with, but they swap into the Inteleon. So this Inteleon is actually going to take the Thunderbolt, and it's going to get knocked out in one shot. This Magmortar does have the Choice Spec, so it was going to hit something pretty hard. But I think my opponent was kind of baffled by the fact that this Magmortar has Thunderbolt. Honestly, it is kind of weird that the Thunderbolt. But they were so baffled, they took some time here to think about it, I guess. And then they just decided, you know what, I'm not going to play Pokemon anymore today. And they rage quit. They just thought that was the end of the match for them. So that's fun. Rage quits are always fun. They still had 2 threats. I don't know what they were so frustrated about. But you know what, guys? It's just a game. We're just trying to have fun, even if you do lose, even if you do get horrible luck with the Pokemon sometimes. That's the game, so no need to rage quit. But we're going to move into the next battle. And like I said, this is the same exact team I had before. My opponent has a very different team. They got the Magikarp and the Togetic, but they also have pretty good threats like the Blaziken, which I'm assuming is a Speed Boost Blaziken. And they have the Ferrothorn, which is a really strong wall. So let's jump right into this. After seeing the theme preview, I'm assuming he's going to go and lead with the Ferrothorn just so that he can set up Stealth Rocks. So I decide I'm going to lead out with my Magmortar. And actually, I used to have Assault Vest on my Magmortar, but I decided it wasn't doing enough damage. So I put on a Choice Specs at the beginning of the last match. So hopefully it does a little more damage. So I'm just going to click a Flamethrower here. If he stays in, he's going to get obliterated. If he switches, something's going to get hard. But he stays in here, and Ferrothorn's health bar is going to get absolutely melted. I don't know what they were thinking there. I don't know if they thought I was going to over-predict and switch out, but we get the kill, and we don't even get the Stealth Rocks on the field, so it's a great threat out of the way. But my opponent's next Pokemon is going to be the Togetic. It'd be really nice to go for a Thunderbolt, but I can't do that with the Choice Specs. But that's okay, we're just going to go for a Flamethrower because I know this can do a lot of damage. And it's going to do almost exactly half, so I don't know if that's a max damage roll or a min damage roll, but he goes for the double team and raises evasiveness, which is kind of scary just because, you know, if they get a bunch of those up, it really sucks. But I'm just going to click Flamethrower again here, and it does land. So the evasiveness there didn't really matter, and we actually take out. So not only did it land, but we also got a critical hit there. So that was pretty lucky, pretty clutch. And as you'll see, maybe later in the battle, we'll get a little more luck our way. I gotta go buy a lottery ticket after this. But we take out the Togetic there with 2 Flamethrowers. So now we got the Espeon. And Magmortar here's got a little sweep going on. So now I actually decided to swap out of Magmortar and head out into Inteleon. But it would have been so cool to stay with the Magmortar here, because as you'll see, this Espeon goes for the trick. And they end up tricking me a Choice Specs. So how funny would it have been if we just swapped Choice Specs between each other? That would have been great. But, I mean, Inteleon, they don't really mind having the Choice Specs just because I am a physical, not physical, I'm a special attacker. So I'm just going to go for the Dark Bolt here. And it's going to take out the Espeon almost in one hit. It lives on like 10 health. And that's going to let my opponent set up the Light Screen. But in the end, the Light Screen doesn't really matter, as you'll see. But I just go for the Dark Pulse again, and that'll easily going to take out the shiny Espeon. So after that knockout, we are up by 3 Pokemon. We got a huge lead. We actually have no damage taken, I think, now that I think about it. So my opponent's going to send out the Orbeetle, and this is where that 1v1 I was talking about comes into play. So now looking back at the battle, I realized that Espeon was just setting up for this Orbeetle. They had the Choice Specs given to me, they got the Light Screen set up, and then they got the Calm Minds here. So all that's just to mitigate damage and forcing me into special moves so that they can not take too much damage. So it's getting pretty scary here. After seeing him start setting up the Calm Minds, I probably should have switched out immediately, but I go for another Dark Pulse and just see how much damage it does. Maybe get a flinch, maybe get a crit, but I get nothing. That does like no damage, and he's gonna go for the Recover. So this is now a very scary Beetle. He's got 2 Calm Minds set up, the Light Screen, and he can recover all of his health back. and that's going to force me to switch. And I decided that, you know what, if he's going to start setting up, I'm going to start setting up. So I'm going to set up my Tyrantrum here. I do have a focus sash on this Tyrantrum, so I'm hoping I can set up on him a little bit here, take whatever hit he's going to dish out, and then just knock him out with one attack. So it begins, the 1v1. I'm going to start setting up Dragon Dances, and then he's going to continue to set up the Calm Minds, but actually, he notices that I set up the Tyrantrum, and it's a physical attacker, so he actually reveals that he has Iron Defense, which really sucks, because now he's going to raise his defense by 1 as I raise my attack by 1. He's already got crazy good special defense, so this Orbeetle looks unkillable with the recovery and the leftovers there, but we are going to stick to the plan here. But to get to that plan, I am going to speed this battle up 4 times speed, 4 times faster. We're just going for Iron Defenses, Calm Minds, and Dragon Dances. I don't understand what he's waiting for. I don't know if he's just trying to stall me out and be annoying, or he actually needs these boosts. He probably doesn't, but you know, he has the Recover, the Iron Defense, the Calm Mind, and 1 attacking move, so he can obviously hit me whenever he wants, or Dynamax whenever he wants, but he isn't, so I decided that I'm going to start going. I have to go for the crits here, but I do have Ice Fang, so instead of going for the crit, I'm going to start going for that Ice Fang and hope that we get a freeze. So on the first Ice Fang, we do get the freeze on the first try, which is super lucky. That's why I mentioned the buying the lottery ticket at the beginning of the video. But since he's been trolling, I'm deciding, you know what, I'm going to troll, and I need the boost anyway, so I'm going to go for a couple of Dragon Dances here, just so I can get an advantage on his Iron Defenses. Actually, I go for just 1, because I don't want to get too greedy and waste my freeze here. So we go for the first Dragon Claw here after this guy gets his leftovers, and it actually does pretty good damage. It looks like a 2, maybe 3 hit KO, so hopefully this dude stays frozen in midair for the next couple of turns, and we can take him out. So we are going to go for the second Dragon Claw here, and actually this is the last Dragon Claw because we get lucky again and get the crit on the second Dragon Claw. And that's pretty much a game, because I outspeed everything on his team, I can knock out everything on his team in 1 shot, and I still have my Focus Sash. My opponent realizes that, and they're just going to concede the battle here, even though they have 2 Pokemon left. There's really nothing he can do. But that is why you do not mess around with the Dragon Dinosaur. You mess around with the Dragon Dinosaur, and you ain't gonna win. I can promise you that. And as I was editing this, I just realized, I don't know if you guys play any fighting games, when you win a match and you don't take any hits, it's called a perfect. And we actually did not take any damage in the entire match. So that was a perfect win right there. I don't think I've ever seen that in any Pokemon match ever. But we did it, guys, so thank you. I appreciate it. Keep watching the videos, and I'll keep posting them when I can. See you.